And see, one thing about reality is understanding. Okay, humility is the the recognition of reality. So like I spoke in, like in the previous recording, anyone who esteem themselves, to be more than what he is, only deceive himself. So I ain't never, come on and say, like, there's reality of the situation. Like, I got faith in God, believe me. Like, my faith is unshakable. I love the Lord. I have faith in the Lord, 100%. And sometimes it get weak, sometimes it get tested, but then you get stronger. God give you the strength to overcome challenges and stuff, throughout life. So, I mean, with that said, with that being said, you come into a situation where you realize when things are out of your hand. You realize when you're overpowered, outnumbered, and you realize situations through, along this journey called life, whereas, you don't have control over everything, and in which case you put it in God's hands, because you can't fight battles that, don't belong to you, and ultimately it all is gonna gravitate to being spiritual warfare. It's like the overarching theme of everything. The battle is God's, it's not his servants. He used us, we assigned for a purpose, but overall the battle is God's, and he wants us to trust on him and lean on him, for everything, and not on our own understanding, and so, living a life of humility and humbleness, one thing you outstop 100% is the pride of life, because that's going to get you in trouble. Like, you had the pride of life, that's going to give you false. I mean, that's the Proverbs full of, the reward, quote unquote, for the pride of life. Or, seeing yourself, or, pretty much overtaking more than your portion, And so for me, you either know when it's time to be still or when it's time to fight, So God give you balance and God give you instruction if you listen for his voice, and some things are out of your control, so you have to, seek, help, and I mean, I look unto the hills for my help, because that's the God, from the hills is where my help go come from, which, it's wisdom to discern, it take wisdom to discern when, it's, it's out of your hands, out of your control, when situations or societies or, mess up things, mess up realities and brackets and things that's, rigged against God, whom you stand for, that you realize you'll be fighting a losing battle. Like, I mean, the battle already won, don't get me wrong, at the cross, but physically, on his physical side, Satan has a time in the earth, whereas he's the God of the age, quote unquote, the God of this age, so Satan, he control the thoughts, like he can control the pattern of, that the pattern is through darkness, gross darkness, but God has, he has people in earth, those are his people, that's who he's inclined towards. He pays attention, he hears the prayers of the righteous, but he's far from the wicked, and even the sacrifice or, the offering of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord. Even the prayer of the wicked is an abomination to the Lord, So, I mean, you realize that, you have to have an understanding of when it's time, like when you have to have an understanding of when you can and can't, like when you outnumbered or when you're overpowered in a situation, then you can't war with the devil in the game that he created and expect to win if you follow God in the light. You set yourself up for destruction. And that's you have to have the discernment to understand that, And what's Antichrist wants you to make that kind of mistake. What's Antichrist wants you to feel self-confident in the, be foolish, situations like such, because me personally, I know God has all power, And God have done, he worked miraculous miracles for my life, time and time and time again. And those that know, you know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, me knowing that, I know I'm not on my time. I'm on God's time. I know, this time is borrowed. Like, I'm only in the earth because of God's will, and it's God's will that I do while I'm in the earth. You know what I'm saying? I have no authority, to go outside of that, for any selfish ambition, Well, mainly to exalt self, because that's mainly what it is. That's what's in the flesh. The pride of life, the lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes. Things of which produce no righteousness of God. So therefore it'd be pointless to pursue, any kind of trajectory or direction that leads to self-exaltation, which leads to destruction, for those that's in the light, because it's conflicting with our original purpose for being in the earth, which is God. And that's who we glorify, magnify, and exalt, So it's, it's pretty much, it's all cyclical, It makes sense, But I guess, what it is, you have to understand it. You pray for wisdom. God gives wisdom freely and willingly to anybody that asks him, But certain situations, out of your hand and control. You can't control every single thing. But, God do give you assignments. He gives certain people, he empowered them to be able to handle a lot of different plates. You know what I'm saying? Certain people he allow, that he give them that grace, to be able to handle a lot of different plates at once, But it's only through him, though. It's not because of the person. So, it's just a matter of always understanding what the origins are. And that's God, keeping the main thing, and that's God. Staying true and doing the right thing, what I'm saying? And that's God's will. So, it's the word of God, I never thought I'd make it as far as I made it, in my own contribution, in my career as an artist, and, even in my life, I didn't see any way out. Many years, many dark seasons, a whole lot of pain, heartache, suffering, torture, just the worst of the worst things that I feel like a person could be subjected to in this physical world. And God is my witness, and God, he gave me a little bit, of hope, and that's all it took, So even though it's still dark, I'm not saying I made it all the way out, or anything like that, but I made it enough to where I can still inspire others and show them the glorious light of God, which is my purpose anyway. So if I can do that, then I'm fulfilled and I'm at peace and I'm happy with even the simplest things. So others can look at my life and see that, we don't have much, he ain't that special. That's fine, because like on the inside, I feel contentment, because if I'm able to reach like one, with the truth or with the light or the gospel, then I'm fine, because that's what God is all about anyway, his will. And my will is consistent with the Lord, where he gives you his desires, so you be fulfilled through him. Because when you know God for yourself, then his desires he put into your soul, so you desire the same thing and you be happy for doing them, because that's God's will. That's how God works. And anybody with the Holy Spirit and the fruits of the Spirit, they'll understand that, So yeah. So I overlook all the nitpicking, like it'd be nitpicking and totally irrational, illogical, and an immense amount of like attention on certain aspects of my life and reality, with the sole intention of undermining or sabotaging it illegally, and various other ways. I overlook all that, because me knowing what's on the table, realize that this is a situation that shows that it's massive darkness, it's evil, it's bias, and it's not right in any way, shape, or form, and so I need help. I needed help, aside from myself, aside from my own power. Because after you done everything that you possibly could do, and then certain situations still transpire, manifest, in spite of that, illegally, and, proven, it's like a, massive satanic evil and crime that's been like rigged against you and rigged against God himself, then that's showing that there's something bigger at work, And so, if nobody stands up, nobody's willing to stand up for like what's right, willing to help somebody, or, while they kick somebody while keep a vessel of Christ while they down, you know, instead of helping them up. They know better than them, you know. They know better than Satan. They know better than those who stabbed Christ with the spear on the cross. You know, they're the same exactly. In fact, they are the same. You know, the very same, you know, because that's what they're doing, you know. Same thing, you know. So, I mean, it matters not, you know, a lot of things that don't matter, you know, just as, you know, just like my disembodied voice now, you know, I'm speaking these truths, you know, I speak the truth, share these recordings, you know, for instance, you know what I'm saying? What's not relevant to a situation is what I don't factor in. You know what I'm saying? There's no reason it would be relevant to anything else. Because, I mean, unless I publicly announce a situation in my life, you know what I'm saying, then that's when it becomes a relevant, you know, part of it. You know, otherwise, my life is being in my privacy and I'm being invaded upon, and with the intention of undermining, you know, various aspects of my life, you know, in order to sabotage the purposes of God, sabotage my life further, violating, you know, various, you know, standards and things for years. So, I mean, it's a deep situation. It's like, you know what I'm saying, it's a lot that can technically be, you know, looked and viewed upon. But, you know, and that's the reality, isn't going nowhere for as long as it's present, you know. Just as, you know, that. So, I mean, it's two sides of the coin, but one side of the coin is fake. It's false and it's Satan. You know what I'm saying? I'm on the other side. I'm here with God, and I'm going to be like this till he get ready for me, you know. I'm out.